The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
If you're looking to streamline your audio advertising buys and maximize your revenue, look no further than Triton Digital's programmatic audio advertising exchange, A2X. The private exchange consists of only licensed broadcasters and top-tier internet radio publishers, assuring the quality inventory and brand safety you can trust. Visit www.tritondigital.com to learn more.
There's a way to do it better. Find it. Thomas Edison. What happens when the greatest scientific minds dream of solving a problem that has plagued humankind for decades? Mathematics and science engage in a divine dance, and the result of their courtship is a product that could only be described as extraordinary. Increased structural performance, yet lightweight and efficient, a quadratic surface and a doubly ruled surface, one axis of symmetry and no center of symmetry. Is it sorcery? No, it's a shape, the hyperbolic paraboloid, and it changed the way we snack forever. And that's why this week's On Brand is on Pringles.
We're all jazzed up, nearly having a cow. You want your favorite show, and it's on right now. It's on Brand.
Hello and welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa. I'm Jon.
I'm Marisa.
Oh my God.
Pringles.
The whole time you were reading that, I was like, she picked mathesium? We're going to do a show on the mathesium? That is like, can I tell you, I've lived in the same place forever. And a store closed in one of the little shopping centers by me. And for months, for years, we're like, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Is it going to be a Pinkberry? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? Mm-hmm. And a mathesium opened up.
You don't need a place to go for math tutoring?
Yeah. I just like to, after a long day of work, I like to go on a short walk and learn math. I'm sure they're great for people. Actually, maybe not, because it has since closed.
You know what? I took Algebra 2 3 times, honey, so maybe I need to go to the mathnesium.
Listen, I'm not going to, I don't want to toot my own horn. I don't think I'm still proficient in math, but I was so good in math in high school, I got invited to a math conference.
What?
I went to a math conference.
As a speaker? Jon, we have a proposition for you.
Today's discussion is on 5. I don't even remember what it was for. It doesn't matter. But it did give a lifelong moment when I remember going up to my teacher and saying, I don't get the thing with math. It's just so easy, blah, 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 for me. And she's like, it's not that it's easy. It's that you understand it and you learned it. And I'm not saying that correctly.
Well, because you're good at math, not words.
Right, exactly. I failed English.
Try to say that sentence in numbers.
Okay. Well, 5. I always start with 5. Actually, if I could talk about 5, it is my favorite number. And 7. Well, because of the squirts and my sibling, that's a callback if you haven't heard. Okay, Pringles. So we'll get to that. So I know it sounds like I'm laughing right now, but I've had kind of an emotional week.
Oh, wow. Let's dig in.
Well, you know how I always cry at flash mobs?
Yes.
I literally started tearing up just thinking about a flash mob.
Jon is starting to weep.
I don't know. I do know what it is. You know what it is. It's the human spirit.
Yeah.
I get very when I know that people have spent time to put this thing together.
Paid dancers are doing choreography that they got paid to do.
A lot. Hey, there's wedding flash mobs. There's a lot of flash mobs. There's a lot of different kinds of flash mobs. There's the kind where you get in and out and you do a thing and people are emotional. There's the kind where you do it like a wedding and you linger and whatever. But whatever. They all touch me. And this seems so dated. Why is Jon talking about flash mobs? All of a sudden, flash mobs are all over my TikTok.
Really?
I think 2024 is the
year of the
resurgence
flash mob?
of the flash mobs.
Wow.
I think they're coming back. Mark my words. I'm saying it now at the beginning of the year. I am here for it. I think we need it. As I've revisited these things, there's so many iconic ones. The marriage proposal where the girl's sitting on the back of the truck and the truck's slowly driving. Oh my God, all of her friends come. Then towards the end, all the laptops open up for the people that couldn't be there. And then there's...
What's the one at the big train station?
The train station is probably the one that kicked it off for me, where they do the song from Sound of Music. Probably one of my favorites.
Oprah and the Black Eyed Peas.
Oprah and the Black Eyed Peas.
That's a good one.
Oprah and the Black Eyed Peas. If you have not seen this flash mob, I want you to pause the pod, go to YouTube, Google Oprah and the Black Eyed Peas flash mob, it's a long one. It's like 15 minutes.
Is this the only time you've ever cried during a Black Eyed Peas song?
All I'm going to say is my favorite part of it when you're watching it is Oprah has no idea this thing's happening.
Yeah.
It literally, this is like one of her last shows at the end of her show. And like, it's an outdoor show and everyone in Chicago's there. There's probably 400 million people outside of Chicago. And she's on stage talking. And then the Black Eyed Peas start playing. And one guy just starts jumping up and down in the middle. And everyone's like, okay, who's this crazy guy? And then 10 of them start jumping up and down. And then 100. And then I'm naming all 400 million people. And Oprah, you see her realizing it on her face. And she's so overwhelmed by it. But then all she knows to do is take out her like little point and shoot camera and just start shooting it. And every time she does it, I'm like, Oprah, they're filming it. Like,
you can rewatch it anytime you want.
Yeah.
Your little 4.2 megapixel doohickey ain't gonna cut it.
I picture her giving that to one of her assistants after the thing, being like, hey, can you get this on my computer?
Can you print these out for me? I want to frame them put them in my bathroom.
I want to watch
There's
that again.
drone footage of this, Oprah. Come on, get real.
Okay.
So you were it's been an emotional week because flash mobs are back.
Yeah.
So you've been crying a lot watching TikTok. That's why it's been an emotional week.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're on TikTok to have fun, and then you're swiping, and you're like, oh, that cat does sound like it's saying I love you, or like, uh-oh, that guy slipped in a pond, and then you swipe up, and you can tell it's a flash mob. You're like, oh, boy.
Turn on the waterworks.
Do I swipe? Am I strong enough for this moment?
Am I in the mood to weep?
Am I in the mood to weep?
It's not always convenient to be struck by something you see on the internet and then just start sobbing. I agree. Sometimes, like, it's like, I'm just peeing. Like, I don't want to cry right now. I got stuff to do. I got to unload the dishwasher. Now I have to, like, recover from a little sob.
I know.
A little midday sob.
A midday sob. I feel that way a lot about TikToks now. Luckily, they have, like, you can just hit a favorite and they'll put it in a folder for you because some things do seem really interesting.
Do you have a sob folder?
Not just a sob folder, like I'll come back to you later. You're a little long for where I'm at right now. I'll revisit you at some point.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, Jon, Pringles, let's jump into just how you feel about Pringles as a chip. Is this a chip you go for?
Okay. I don't know anything really about Pringles. I do have some personal connections with Pringles.
I would love to hear a personal connection to Pringles.
One of them is, ironically...
You lost your virginity to a can.
No, God, no. So almost 8 years ago, actually 8 years ago next week, I quit smoking. I don't know if all the fan freaks know I used to be a very heavy smoker.
We're talking heavy.
Like a lot of cigarettes, and I have not smoked in 8 years. When I quit smoking, the first few months, I started to get like my taste back and things started to taste so good. Pringles was one of those things. I couldn't get enough of them. They tasted so delicious to me. It has since moved on. Now they're just kind of taste like Pringles again. But
nothing like that.
they're not. They were like magical at that time. Wow. So there's that connection.
If you're a listener and you've recently quit smoking, treat yourself to a Pringle.
Cinnamon gum and Pringles, not at the same time, but those two things got me through. My other thing with it is, what is that thing called? Like with the Berenstain Bears?
A mandala effect?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know if I have one of those, but as a child, my favorite Pringle was the sour cream and onion Pringle.
Yes.
I believe that those were covered in green specks. They no longer are. And so I don't know if I'm remembering incorrectly or if because of corporations and the expense of the green specks, they're no longer there.
You think the green specks were shredded $1 bills? Interesting. When I think of green specks on a chip, sour cream and onion, I think of Lay's. But it could have been Pringles also.
I don't think Lay's had those. See, I don't associate those. Maybe let's let one of our freaks tell us on Instagram.
We'll fork off into one of our weird little 5-minute Patreon. Like, you're going to go a thing on time balls. We'll do one about green specks.
People sent us a few of those. In the last week, I've seen like a bag of rolls go down a pole, a big potato go down a pole.
We love those. Send us your time balls. We're into it.
Yeah, and do a little digging on the green flecks and let us know. So why Pringles? Why did you pick? Let me guess. So you're thinking it's the Super Bowl's coming up, snack chips, or is it just random?
I was looking at brands that people have a strong loyalty to. So Pringles are the number 3 chip in America, best loved chip. And Lay's wins by like the biggest margin. It goes Lay's, Ruffles, and Pringles. But to me, as I started to kind of dip a toe into Pringles, I think they're really special. There's nothing else like it in the chip sector. And I actually have a can here for us to pop into and taste as well.
I love that. I agree with you. They are definitely unique. I would say in the potato chip space, they seem more like a veneered wood than like a Lay's is, to me, feels very pure. It's a slice of potato, a little salt, a little oil. A Pringle seems like it was a lot of meetings and a lot of manufacturing.
You know, actually, as you bring that up, they were originally called Pringles. Prongles. They were originally called Pringles Newfangled Potato Chips. And we've been calling them chips because, yes, colloquially we call them chips. Other snack manufacturers objected, saying that Pringles failed to meet the definition of a potato chip since they were made from potato-based dough. So they're a mix of reconstituted potato and rice, other kind of flours. So they were saying that legally you cannot call them chips. So if you look at the can, they're called crisps.
Yes, I feel like that is similar to how McDonald's, I believe, at one time was not allowed to call their shakes milkshakes because there was no dairy product in them,
no
or
milk.
Something like that.
Yes,
no milk.
it falls in that. It was Lay's probably wanting to like distinguish themselves as like made with real potato to kind of edge out the competition.
Yeah. And another thing I'll say about Pringles is that I do feel like it is one of those things. It is definitely the head of its category because I have had imitations. I've had Lay's versions of a Pringle.
Yeah.
Trader Joe's has done a version, I think, called like saddlebacks or something.
That's the name of the shape that'll be referred to as a saddle. So like Pringles, we'll call them saddles. So they have a little nod to that. And I've had the Trader Joe's ones as well. And to me, it doesn't compare. Maybe it's a healthier version, but you can't mess with the.
If you're sticking your hand in a tube, you're not looking for healthy. You're looking for delicious.
Yeah, reach for an apple, okay?
Yeah, pick it off the tree, not in a deep, dark tube of shame.
So do you ever buy Pringles?
I do. You know, I do feel like I'm disappointed in them a lot now.
Wow.
Like, I'll go down the aisle. I'll usually only buy them when they're on sale. And I'll get them, and they're just never as good. I feel like if I'm going to get a salty snack, it is now a Lay's potato chip.
Well, you and most of America.
Yeah.
If I'm buying snacks for a party or buying a big bag of chips, to me, Pringles is like, that's just for me. I don't want to have to share my can. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not letting anyone else slide their hand down my tube. That's a private tube. It stays by the bed. Do you keep yours in the bedroom also?
Yeah, in that slot between like the headboard and the mattress, that's where I keep just a little line of Pringles cans.
Yeah, when you're done, then you keep special things in it.
Your pencils, whatnot.
Well, I also live alone, so when am I sharing a Pringle?
Well, like if you're going to a party, I feel like I'll pick. if I'm going to a party.
If I'm going to a party, you think I've got like 9 cans of Pringles under my arm?
That's what
All
I'm
right,
saying.
who likes original?
If I'm going to a party, I'm getting a big bag of Lay's or Ruffles, which might contribute to maybe why that's like such a big part of the market is because Pringles are, you know what they should come up with? God, we have so
One
many.
big Pringle.
One long tube, like
Oh.
a 6-foot tube for a party.
Oh, that would be fun. I'm surprised at Christmas you can't, because you can get those like giant Hershey bars and stuff at
Yes.
Christmas. Yeah, you should get a 14-foot.
A party sub,
Something you
but
can
Pringles.
climb in.
Climb in. You think it should be wide?
Yeah, they should be. Yeah.
Like when they're like building a parking garage and they have those big cylinders they fill with cement, you think those should be filled with just loose Pringles?
Well, I do think it can't just be the normal circumference because the longer that gets, I mean, you got to like.
Honey, if it wasn't the normal circumference, they would crack.
Wow. This is why these companies have so many meetings.
We'll get a little bit to the history and maybe it'll spark some interesting conversation, as it usually tends to do around here.
It usually tends to do that. So yeah, let's jump in.
So this is exactly the result of a very concerted effort to solve a problem in the market. Have you heard the expression, necessity is the mother of invention?
Yes.
You familiar with that?
Yeah, I am.
So Procter & Gamble in 1956 sought out to develop a new kind of chip that would address the biggest customer complaints about potato chips. Can you guess what they are? What are your complaints about a bag of chips?
Too crunchy.
No.
They
Never.
get in my hair.
No.
I can't hold a bunch of them at once. I need them to be able to stack. I want to be able to make a face with them, and my fingers get greasy.
Greasy.
Okay.
Broken.
They
They get stale quickly. Too much air in the bag.
Too much. Well, then you know what? Put more chips in. You have control over how much air is in the bag. Put more chips in. Have you opened a bag of chips lately? It's 9 chips. Ever since COVID and ever since the whatever's gone on, it's 9 chips a bag and the price is skyrocketing there. That's my rant.
Pringles has also faced a lot of accusations of shrinkflation as well. People are having like side by side the old chip and the new chip, and the new chip is smaller. They're like stacked less high. The tubes are slightly narrower. So shrinkflation is rampant. I don't know what we can do about that in this economy.
See, Pringles are another thing that I eat kind of grossly. Less so now because they don't do it as much now. But when you would get sour cream and onion Pringles, you'd get a few that are extra dusty. And I just like to lick those. It's not an attractive look, but I like to lick my tongue through the dust.
You lick the dust off the chip?
Yeah, but like not like a big like wide tongue lick, like a pointed tongue lick. Like I like to make a trail, like a pointy trail,
like a really efficient trail, like you're vacuuming a rug.
Yeah, like I'm creating a path for whatever is gonna live on that chip.
And then you just eat the wet chip.
Yeah, and then I eat the wet chip. But there's no dust anymore. I feel like it's all just like flavor infused in it. There's something different about it.
You know, they are sprayed with the flavor, but I'm sure like everything else, you got to cut pennies somehow. Maybe they're skimping on the dust.
It was always one of my dreams. You know how like with Captain Crunch, they made a cereal called Oops, All Berries.
Yes.
Like we messed up and it's just the berries. And I think Honey Bunches of Oats also did just the bunches. I always dreamed of like with Doritos or Pringles or one of these powdery chips I like doing like a extreme powder punch.
You want Oops All Dust?
Oops All Dust. Too dusty. And I'm like, oh no. And then licking my fingers and licking the chips.
I feel like so many chips have done that. Aren't there like Doritos Max or something and they're like extra dusty?
No, that's not what those are.
What are they?
That's not what those are. That's not the only thing that's been kind of good is Cheez-Its have you seen those Cheez-Its that are like extra toasted?
Yes.
Like we accidentally cooked them a little too long and they're a little burnt. That's what we like.
I love those golden brown Cheez-Its.
I do too. I would like to think if I worked in the snack biz, that would have been me on like a Friday meeting. They're like, for months, we haven't been able to come up with anything new. And I'm like, burn them. And they're like, that's insane. And then I stay the weekend, I make a burned batch, and they're like, oh my God.
I swear that used to be something that would be like in elementary school, some kid would say, oh, I put my Cheez-Its in the toaster oven or something. But like there's like those little hacks that will pass their way around the schoolyard. You know what I mean? Did you ever do things like that where like you cook something in a weird way and that's kind of like your family's little way of cooking something? Like we would put like 4 marshmallows on a paper plate in the microwave and then watch them like inflate and then collapse and then just eat them with our fingers.
Yes, we definitely did stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like we had like I don't know if this is a thing, but in our family we had peanut butter and syrup. Did you make that?
No.
You would take a cup of peanut butter, pour in some syrup, mix it up, and it would make a drippy thing, and you put that on bread. So good.
Yummy.
I think I've told you sometimes in lieu of a sherbet, my mom would just serve us orange juice concentrate.
Yes.
And we would do like a quick on-the-go cookie dough where you just do a little flour, sugar, and butter and mix that in. And then
Munch
eat
on that. Yeah. There you go. I mean, I think it's only a matter of time before we get hired by the snack biz.
I think it's only a matter of time before you'll be dead.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you looking for a new job or want a career change? Look no further than Monster.com. Need a little help standing out? Our expert resume writing services will make sure you shine. Want to brush up on your interview skills? Engage with our AI interview prep tool. Want some advice on negotiating your new salary? Visit our salary tools and extensive library of career advice articles, and you'll have all the tips and tricks you'll need to succeed. Visit Monster.com today and take the first step towards your career. Monster.com. Find your right job fit.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles Mackenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip. When it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Arr, fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
So this scientist, his name was Frederick J. Bauer. He's a chemist. He was a food pioneer, and he was tasked with coming up with the chip that would basically eliminate all these consumer complaints. So as we said, not greasy, can't go stale easily, no air in the bag, not broken easily. So he spent, I love this, 2 years.
Oh my God.
Developing this chip.
I love that. And paid the whole time. And you know, he's got like chalkboards with like, here's the freshness side and different. He's drawn all these. How can we keep them fresh? And like, it's like the tube doesn't come for like a year.
Yes.
He's tried out like, we'll put it in a big balloon or somehow we'll have them floating out in space. Some weird things because space was very big at that time.
He also invented astronaut ice cream, freeze-dried ice cream.
See? That probably came during the 2 years he's paid.
I would like to think he came up with the Pringle shape and can day one, and then he was just spent the rest of the 2 years just like playing tic-tac-toe or something.
How's it going? I'm not going to lie, Greg. I think I'm going to need a couple years on this one.
Honey, your dinner's getting cold. Sorry, another late day at the office.
Call me in 1960, because I think that's when I'm going to be done with this. Good for him.
So the most iconic thing about the Pringles is the shape. And as I said, this is a hyperbolic paraboloid. And this is a shape that has existed for, a few hundred years. And it was in architecture. It's used like as a roof material, a roof shape, because it uses less material, but it is structurally strong.
Oh, like the Spanish tile roofs?
It's similar to that, but they would do like a giant roof, basically, that looks like a Pringle. And so that existed a lot, like in the 1800s in Russian architecture. So he applied that shape to the Pringles to specifically meet these consumer issues, because when they're stacked like this, the way that they disperse pressure, the Pringles will not crack. Also, because they have a lot of structural integrity and they're super, super thin, which lends themselves to having a very satisfying crunch. So Pringles are known for their crunchiness, and that's not just the recipe, that is attributed to the shape as well. So if you eat Pringles, you will notice that they never break off symmetrically. They crack in different directions and produce flakes with varying shapes, all due to the shape, the hyperbolic paraboloid geometry of each chip. So that was 2 years he figured out. He figured out the can, he figured out the shape. But there was one problem.
Oh, no.
The chips tasted bad.
No. He solved all that. It's funny you say that they never break, because while you were just telling us all of that beautiful scientific information, anytime I buy a can of Pringles, I give it to see if it sounds like the whole stack is together.
Yes.
Because sometimes they sound like some of them are cracked, but this, I don't know if you can hear this.
Is this a good one? You want to hear the entire solid stack gently knocking the interior of the can.
Every single time I buy a can of Pringles, I do that.
So if you're a listener, you could just be shaking them gently in the grocery store. That's how we'll know we see a brand freak in the wild.
Yeah.
They're shaking their Pringles.
We're just going to be in the chip aisle now all the time.
I love that. If you're curious about the hyperbolic paraboloid, there's a lot of other scientific kind of mumbo jumbo about why that works. It's very interesting, but I won't bore you with any more of those details. So as I mentioned, the chips tasted bad. He was making them out of fried dough.
No.
So they were not good. So the project was shelved. Procter & Gamble, they put Pringles aside. They could not figure out how to make the chips palatable. So this guy was fired, and it wasn't until the mid-60s when another P&G researcher, his name was Alexander Lipa of Montgomery, Ohio, restarted Bauer's work and succeeded in improving the taste.
In First Guy's defense, taste wasn't one of the bullet points he was supposed to solve.
That's a really good point. That wasn't a complaint about chips, is that they taste bad.
Yeah. No one said. They just said they had to be fresh and all the other things. So I hope he didn't die sad.
No, he didn't die sad. But his remains, he requested to be buried in a Pringles can.
I was going to make that joke if that's not how it was going to be. And I 100% did not think that's how it was going to be.
He was cremated, and he requested to his children, and they didn't know if it was a joke or if he seemed serious, that some of his remains be put in a Pringles can, and it was buried alongside with his ashes in an urn. So he is in the ground in a Pringles can. His legacy, his greatest work that we all still enjoy, will enjoy for years and years to come, his eternal resting place.
This was guy 1 or 2? This is
guy one Bauer, yeah. So he discovered, the shape had already existed, but he applied the shape to the chips and invented the can.
It would have been fun if he had not only requested to be buried in the can, but that can would also be placed in a random grocery store for a consumer to find.
Or he wanted his ashes to become like the dust on a chip.
Yeah. I'm just in the grocery store shaking. Well, this one sounds different. Okay, so it took basically two men to put together this chip.
There's some mystery around the name. People don't know where the name Pringle came from.
That was going to be my next question. Where does such a unique name come from? In the world we live in now, where an iconic name existed for so long, it's usually like, oh, it was the owner's dog's name or something like that, a personal thing brought to it by one of its inventors. Is that what happened in this situation?
You know what? It's much more mysterious than that. There are a few theories, but nobody knows for sure where the name Pringle came from. Somebody said it comes from Mark Pringle, who was somebody who had applied for a patent for processing potatoes in 1937. So not somebody affiliated with Pringles.
But someone in the potato world.
Somebody who had a patent for processing potatoes in March 5th, 1937, but not affiliated with Pringles. So there, it's like an homage to him, maybe?
It could have also come when we used to make Pringles in the early days. When the batter would come out of the assembly line, they'd be like, Pringle! And then it could kind of sound like Pringle, and so we just called him Pringles.
That's a really good theory. Should I add that to the Wikipedia?
Yeah. Add it to your high school Wikipedia page.
Another theory suggests that two advertising employees lived on Pringle Drive in Finneytown, north of Cincinnati.
Okay.
The inventor is from Cincinnati, by the way.
Well, it's Procter & Gamble. Of course it
Yeah,
is.
so he's
That's
from
what
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's all about.
Another theory is that they just were looking through the Cincinnati telephone book and they just found a funny name. They wanted it to feel like a family name so that it kind of feels like a little bit, I don't know, like less corporate. So I don't know. There's a few theories. If anybody has a theory as to where it came from based in reality or not, we'd love to hear.
Or if anyone from the fine people at Procter & Gamble know, please
That's right.
write into our Instagram. I mean, it is a perfect name for it.
It's absolutely perfect. So you can't think of Pringles without thinking of the marketing. That's the slogan. Do you know the Pringles slogan?
Oh.
Wow, it's not on the tip of your tongue?
Is it that famous?
Yeah. Once you pop, you can't stop.
Right. Once you just can't stop. That's how I remember it.
And the new slogan now, let me know what you think of it if it needs a new brand aid. Mind popping. I'm not a fan.
Mind popping's fun. I mean, that's the whole slogan, though.
That's the whole slogan. I guess that's kind of playing on you having like an awareness of once you pop, you can't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Mind popping, just like in and of itself, feels kind of confusing for a chip.
It feels a little weak, yeah.
Yeah.
Because once you pop, you just can't stop. I feel like goes hand in hand with, like, they were kind of competing with Lay's. Lay's slogan forever was, you can't have just one Lay's or something like that. They're
Once
all
you
about,
pop, you
like,
can't stop.
you're going to eat a bunch of these. Prepare. It's like me with a flash mob. Like, are you ready for this? Get ready, because if you pop that, you're eating them all.
I honestly, I've never been able to stop once I popped a can of Pringles.
Oh, I have.
You
So
have?
you pop and you eat a whole can?
I mean, I'll be sharing them maybe with who's beside me, but I don't.
Who's
I
beside
don't
you?
willingly stop eating. I find them to be quite addictive.
I enjoy the small cans, even though it does seem like more waste.
Maybe more air in there too.
Something, yeah.
And the mascot on the Pringles can, his name is Julius Pringles. And this is funny, speaking of Wikipedia, he was named from a Wikipedia prank where a couple of, I think they were teenagers, basically went into the Pringles Wikipedia and then said his name is officially Julius Pringles, like in the Wikipedia page for Pringles.
Yeah.
And then that like lore kind of became reality. And now Pringles officially acknowledges that his name is Julius.
That's fantastic. Do those kids make any money?
I don't think they saw a damn dime.
I hope they got at least a box of Pringles sent to their homes. That's
I
fun.
should hope.
I like that. I like it when
Yeah.
companies allow fans to engage.
Yeah, I think more companies should let fans name their mascots.
Well, if it doesn't have one, sure, why not? I know that there was I remember when this new look came out within the last couple of years, and there was a little pushback, like, people don't like change. They
For
like the
sure.
old one forever. This one's grown on me. I do feel like it accomplished what they wanted. It's a little sleeker. It's still the same idea. It feels a little newer. And I would like at this moment just to give a quick shout out to you. And I have a friend, Michael Bush, who is a comedian here in Los Angeles, who for years did a character, basically was the Pringle guy.
He looks a lot like the Pringles guy already, so...
He did such a good job with it. So, Michael, I don't know if you listen to the pod, but I'm sure someone will tell you that we mentioned
Google
you
and
on
watch
this.
a sketch from, I don't know, 2006,
Six, yeah.
and you'll see that.
The Pringles guy.
So, there's not a lot more to the Pringles, like, history. They didn't have any, like, big changes over the years. I will say they've done very well for themselves as a crisp company. On May 31st, 2012, Kellogg's officially acquired Pringles for $2.7 billion.
Wow.
So not too shabby for a chip company, and they generate
a what
2.5
company?
A crisp company.
Thank you.
They generate 2.5 billion annual net sales worldwide. So they're doing really well for themselves. They've had a lot of fun flavors over the years. So if you see Pringles, do you go for any of these like wild flavors?
I usually will only get original or sour cream and onion. I did buy a can of one Thanksgiving a couple years ago. They had like roasted turkey and gravy or something.
Yeah.
I got that. I like a novelty thing. They don't seem like they're as into that as like Oreo or Lay's. Lay's is really big on doing unconventional, and they really involve their
they do
fans in it.
contests,
They do contests,
for
and you
flavors.
submit, and they've always got a fun flavor going on. But
A lot of the Pringles flavors, their more unique flavors, are international. Like they'll have prawn cocktail, for example, things like that. So pumpkin pie is like that's kind of as wild as they get. They're not doing like the Lay's, the super wild stuff, but they're in 140 countries, so they will cater a lot to their national audience.
yeah,
with their
I do
flavors.
like salt and vinegar too.
Me too. I love a salt and vinegar Pringle.
Yeah.
Pringles are also the number 2 mini bar snack, second only to water. So do you ever indulge in the ripoff of a mini bar?
Absolutely not.
1,300% price markup on a mini bar item.
And they've gotten so sophisticated now too, because back in the day,
You used to be able to do a little bit of trickery.
you do a little chomp chomp and then bring back some snacks from CVS and just replace them.
You would do that?
No, but I know that people
Okay.
could. Now there's like motion detectors and sensory things, and you can't. I just don't get near it. I'm scared to walk by it. I am too thrifty for that.
And you definitely show up with your own snacks.
Yeah.
Do you have snacks on you right now? You always travel with like something, with like a little tub of cheese or something.
I travel with a little tub of
You
cheese.
always have a little something in your bag.
I will say I did find a string cheese in my pocket 2 nights ago. Because sometimes I'll grab a string cheese from the fridge and they're too cold. You're supposed to eat cheese at room temperature. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I'll stick this in my pocket and eat it in the next room. Like, it'll give it a minute to warm up.
Yeah.
I don't think about that cheese again. Sometimes not till laundry day. And I'm emptying out my pockets and I've just got this melted old cheese in my pocket.
Yeah, with young children, sometimes an unwrapped string cheese will just be like baking in the backseat of the car, and it turns into like Velveeta. Like you could squeeze it onto like a nacho chip.
You can. It's so gross.
I don't want to, but you could.
But no, I don't have any snacks on me right now, but I am excited to crack into this can once we're done with this pod.
Oh, yeah, me too. So something about the Pringles can. People think that there's a lot of different uses for it, like creative reuses for it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of anything you would do with a Pringles can when you're done eating the chips?
This might age me, but when we were younger, we probably would have made telephones out of them, get 2 cans and a string. God, that makes me sound like I'm 80. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People did that. I do feel like a Pringles tube is a must-have in a craft kit. You could do a million things with it. You could plant a plant in it. You could shoot bottle rockets out of it. You could do a million things. What can't you do is the real question.
What can't you do with a Pringles can? I believe if you searched Pringles, DIY, and any other noun, it would pop up.
Pringles seems like something... Oh, God, why is everything making me sound so old? Do you know who MacGyver is?
Yes, I know who MacGyver is.
Pringles can definitely feels like something MacGyver would have stumbled across
Yes.
and used for something big.
People use Pringles cans to make iPhone speakers. Like you can cut a little hole in the top and it'll amplify the sound. You can make a bird feeder out of it. People cover them in wrapping paper and use them to store craft items. Yeah, so they're pencils, they're pens, they're markers, whatever.
It's a good tube.
It's a great tube.
Yeah.
It may be the grocery store's best tube.
Is it? Yeah. I can't. Well, I don't know. We've got oatmeal.
God, that's a good tube,
That's
too.
a good tube.
Brand battle Pringles tube versus oatmeal tube. Battle of the tubes.
See you in June. This summer. Battle of the Tubes.
There was a woman in Wichita Falls, Texas. She was banned from a local Walmart after she spent several hours driving an electric shopping cart around the store's parking lot while drinking wine from a Pringles can.
Aww. Wait, she was arrested?
She was released, but she was banned from Walmart. And
She's clearly going through something. I mean, she's not hurting anybody.
you think she shouldn't have gotten in trouble?
No, of course she shouldn't have gotten in trouble. Now I'm literally just thinking of other tubes that are in grocery stores. Fun trick if you... Okay, I'll just throw this out and then we'll get off tubes. Not that we're even on
Hey, honey,
tubes.
let's stay on tubes.
For anyone else who collects pressed pennies,
Yes.
I don't know if there is another person.
Talk about aging yourself. My God, this
God,
episode.
I know.
Tin can telephones and pressed pennies. Where's your, hoop and stick?
But I did start with TikTok, so I'm kind of all over the place.
You're ageless. You're an enigma.
If you collect pressed pennies, you know those little plastic tubes that the mini M&Ms come in?
Yes.
perfect size for a quarter. If you're going to like a Disneyland or something, you put 2 quarters, penny, 2 quarters, penny, 2 quarters, penny. Should I go to the top? 2 quarters, penny, 2 quarters, penny, all the way to the top. And then as you're going through the park, you just pop that open, get 2 quarters and a penny, get your pressed penny, and you're good to go.
That is brilliant.
Thank you.
Honestly, you could store your pressed penny collection in a Pringles tube.
I don't think the pressed penny fits in the tube once it's pressed.
No, a Pringles tube.
Oh, yeah. You could. And then you're like someone's died and you're in their home. That doesn't sound like Pringles or ashes. I don't know what that could be.
You do spend a lot of time thinking about how we're going to rummage through your things after you die.
Oh, I'm at the point, every single thing I buy, I'm like, I wonder who's going to get this in my estate sale.
You have to write it down.
Oh, God, it's too daunting. Figure it out.
Not your problem.
Everyone gets a swatch and a pressed penny. The rest is just figure it out.
Oh, my God. It's going to come to blows. It's going to be brutal.
I do wonder, and I don't like to bring up my Emmy. I know you know that.
You don't?
I hate to bring up my award from the Television Academy. I do wonder, might be morbid, but I was thinking about it last week. If I die, I don't know if anyone in my family will come out here, where that's going to go.
Can I have it?
No.
Well, who gets it then?
Someone in my family.
They don't want it.
I don't want your children's sticky fingers all over my accolades. Anyway, these are thoughts for me in bed.
That's what you think about when you're laying in bed, who gets your Emmy when you die?
Not all the time. But...
Oh, yeah, the rest of the time you're crying over TikToks. This is your life. And I have a slightly interesting, slightly boring fact.
Oh, my favorite.
So in 2007, this was Pringles' big controversy, aside from the crisp chip debate. So in Britain, there is a 17.5 tax on any product made, in quotes, wholly or substantially from potatoes. Al, can you confirm this as a British man? Are you familiar with this tax?
Of course. Have most of your money's gone to this tax?
So to avoid the tax, Procter & Gamble didn't want to pay the tax. So they had their lawyers argue that Pringles were not technically potatoes because they don't have a lot of potatoes in them.
Oh, my God.
And they had a dizzying amount of back and forth between British courts. The case made it to the country's Supreme Court, which ultimately ruled Pringles are potato chips. So this is tricky. It's like, are they chips? Are they not chips?
I love over there they're chips, where they normally call chips crisp. And over here, we don't call anything a crisp. I mean, this whole brand.
It's positively dizzying.
It's dizzying. Now I know what I'm going to think about tonight in bed.
The Procter & Gamble, this is what you're going to be tossing and turning about. Procter & Gamble, they had to pay $160 million in back taxes.
What?
That's a lot, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Okay, the fact was a little more fun than I thought.
Yeah, that's not boring at all.
All right. So, you know what? That's kind of all I have on Pringles. Should we do a taste test and see what we think? I haven't had a Pringle, I think, in several years. So I
thought you would never ask. I'm ready to pop open it. It doesn't actually pop or anything, though. They should do it like a...
It used to be like a tennis ball can.
Oh, I was going to say like a can of Pillsbury biscuits. Like when you pull this back, there's like a...
You are just looking for an excuse to do your cool pop trick.
I'm so good at that. Can you do that?
No, I
can
can't.
do. Listen. I'm so good at it. It's one of the dumbest things I'm good at, like, and that I'm proud of.
That and your Emmy.
Wait, I told you I had an Emmy? I don't remember ever bringing that up.
So this can does look pretty full. I saw some pictures online where it was like down 4 inches.
Okay, well, that's not a lot.
Did they look smaller than you remember? Some people are saying they're a little bit smaller.
Nah, they look like they always did. I'm going to take a nice hearty stack and pass them
right,
over to
pass them
Al.
by.
Al will take one chip. I'll participate. Oh, he took a stack.
Once I pop, I can stop. And I will see. I'm looking down. I see one little shred.
I most certainly can stop. That is so what Al would say.
People are going to hate the sound of us crunching chips into the mic.
Wait, what did you just say people are going to hate?
Crunching into the microphone.
Well, good thing that I brought this brand news. Okay, this is insane. Okay, first of all, it's insane that you picked Pringles. And I came here with a brand new news that's about Doritos. And I find it quite interesting.
Huge fan.
So, in November of last year, just 2 months ago, there was a press release that came out for a new app called Doritos Silent. The fine people at Doritos,
yes,
looking at one of their largest fan bases, which is video game players.
Interesting.
As you know, on Twitch and all these things, people are playing video games. They're making an insane amount of money. Why we do this for free. We do this for free. We're doing this for free. And they're getting millions of dollars to pew, pew, pew.
Clickety-clack, yeah.
While they're clickety-clacking for hours, they're chomping on chips. And their fans don't want to hear it.
Wow.
Dorito spent time and money and AI to create Dorito Silent. It's an app that you can download for free. They ingested 500 different sounds of people crunching.
Well, that's a fun job. Eating Doritos on mic.
Yeah, just eat Doritos on mic all day. I feel like working right now. Is that cool? And then, so they combined 5,000 different sounds of crunching with tons of the human voice, had AI learn the difference between what a crunch sounds like while people are talking.
Yes, this is crunch detection technology.
This is like the only time I've ever thought AI did anything
absolutely
relatively important. Now AI, with this software, can take out that sound. So these guys can play games, chomp on their Doritos and talk, and the people on the other end won't hear the crunching.
Wow.
One, how crazy is that? Two, how perfectly does that fit in with what's happening right now? I have a stack of Pringles here I can't eat because I don't have Dorito Silent. My mind's blown right now.
That is mind-blowing. And I will say, knowing like everything that went into the design of this chip for its maximum crunch with maximum thinness, I am impressed by how it shatters in the mouth. Would you like to take a bite? Okay, Pringles, what are your thoughts? What taste sensation is hitting your tongue? This is Pringles original.
I mean, I really don't have complaints. I don't think they're, like I said, they're not as magical as when you get off of a lifetime of smoking, but they're a good, solid, crunchy, salty chip. It does feel like a very personal snack because you have this private tube. Like it doesn't, with the bag and everything, that feels like it's for sharing. And all this tube feels like it's like a item you own.
This tube sends a message that's like, this is just for, like, don't ask me for a chip.
No, don't ask.
This is my tube.
You don't even have to ask, you know.
Al, did you stop after you popped?
I really did just eat one.
So you relate more to the mind-popping slogan. What do you think of the Pringle, Al?
It's really good.
It's really good. It's very light, very delicate. I love the shatter. I gotta say, I think I might be like a crunch queen. Are you a crunch queen?
You know, I just like.
Jon, I asked you a question. Are you a crunch queen?
I'm a crunch queen.
Okay, thank you.
My name's Jon Glover, and I am an Emmy award-winning crunch queen. So we're talking about how we eat Pringles right now, and everyone probably eats them different. We're trying to figure out if we eat them in one bite, if we take bites from them. And Al was talking about how he takes a bite but uses his tongue as his bottom teeth, and I thought that was insane. But then I ate one while he was talking. I put the whole thing in my mouth and then press up with my tongue and shatter it with my tongue under the roof of my mouth.
That is bizarre. Whoa. You also have a large mouth. Al and I have really small mouths.
Wow.
I don't know if I can fit a whole Pringle in my mouth.
Oh,
I'd love to see. But this is behind the paywall. Let's see it.
You can't fit one Pringle in your mouth? I could fit a stack. Oh my God, he started to gag. You would not be a good gay man. Your eyes are watering.
Well, that's all we have for Pringles.
Wow, that was like, I feel like this was like a Fast and Furious. I'm like, my arms are sweating and I don't know why. I thought like I wasn't sweating at the beginning of this. I sweat very easily.
It's also very cold, so
It is very cold. I know. It's like, I'm not going to sweat today. This is great. And then I'm here, like we get through and I'm like
drenched.
Sweating. Oh, and can I just do like a shout out about what the heck is going on with Stanley in the last week? We did our episode on Stanley. I know it has nothing to do with the craze. The craze was already in place, but the craze has like gone off the rails.
Yeah, so many people were sending me, my friend Courtney, she listened to the pod, she sent me a link to Target did a Valentine's Day drop of Stanley Cups, and it was like they had the regular like 40 ounce, the big boy, and then they had a lot of little ones, and it was like Black Friday, Jingle All the Way, Cabbage Patch Dolls craze get to these Stanley tumblers, and it feels like, isn't this already over?
Those crazes were at least to get something for a child, which I have seen a lot of TikToks. I saw videos of like 12-year-old girls crying when they opened their Stanley.
Insane.
My dad suggested we do Stanley as a brand, and I was like, we already did it. And he was talking about how he had one when he was young. And I've told him, like, it's insane to me how a brand like that really was seen as being like the working man's thermos, has navigated into 2024 as being the hottest fashion accessory for like soccer moms across the country.
Yeah, it's wild. And for that, so many people, I know we already talked about Stanley in a whole episode, but it's so funny that this brand, you either like absolutely know it and you know like all about it, or you know nothing. Because like our friend's dad, Steve Flowers.
Oh, yeah.
He thought it was Stanley Tools. Like, so there's so many people when they first hear Stanley, they think of the tool company.
Oh, and then I had someone write me and said that when they heard us talking about it before they listened to the pod, they thought it was the Stanley Cup from whatever. And I told my dad how the Stanley from the Stanley Cup is the same as the Morgan Stanley, and he didn't know that either.
Wow,
So,
I love it.
yeah, we're really
doing well with that.
we're changing the world.
Your dad as our audience. We're changing the world. Do you think we kicked off like the second wave of the craze?
100%. Did you see the Target thing? There was a guy that like jumped over the counter to try to steal a whole box of them.
It is beyond bizarre. I do not understand it at all.
I am so grateful that I don't want one. Like, I have no desire to get one. Seeing this new resurgence of people going crazy for them has not ignited anything in me. I'm happy to watch from the sidelines. I'm now like hiccuping on Pringles.
Yeah, my friend Courtney, who sent me the video from Target, we were joking about how like this generation of like soccer moms who are buying their Stanleys at Target, they have their like crazy 100-piece Stanley collections. Their kids are going to be like packing up boxes of Stanleys and like putting them in storage units. Because they'll be like, Mom, can we donate these? It's like, do you know what I had to go through to get those? I was elbowing people out of the way to get that Stanley. No, we can't donate it.
Well, and the funny thing about it is the whole point of the Stanley and the craze is supposed to be like this hydration movement. And a lot of these people just collect them. And I can't say anything because I went through the Starbucks cold cup period and I collected those. And you can only use so many. But God, I'm glad I don't do Stanley because they're a lot more expensive.
Well,
too.
and the irony of like a reusable cup that is more environmentally friendly and then buying like 80 of them.
Yeah.
It's just everything about it is just so wild. I don't understand. I love my cup. I love my little water in my little straw. But, you know, I don't get it.
I am still enjoying the husbands that make the videos of them putting a handle on a garbage can and walking into their like living room like that's their Stanley. It really gets me every time.
Before we wrap up, I just want to give a shout out to the brand freaks who wrote us very nice 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. We're at 4.7 out of 5. We'd love to get up to 4.8.
Yeah, it's surprising to me how many, it takes several reviews to move that point whatever up.
If you think that we are too, I don't know, secure to care about something like this, you are absolutely wrong. This is all we care about. We would love to get up to 4.8, 4.9. Early on, you know, you're finding your footing as a show. So early on, if you listen to the early episodes, maybe they were a little lighter on the information than they are now. And so some people gave us a 1 star.
I gotta say, listen, I'm not, and I'm never going to be like, our podcast is the best. But we have gotten a couple 1 stars, and I'm like, 1? Like, there's nothing worse than a 1. We're the worst of all of them?
A 1-star podcast would be like 2 people, I guess, eating Pringles on a mic, which I guess we just did.
Wow. My mind is blown right now. We are a 1.
Poppin'. So please, if you feel inclined, if you have a second, please give us a nice review on Apple Podcasts. Nice reviews only. As I said, we need to get up to 4.8. And that really helps us. We want to try to, in the new year, we want to reach more potential brand freaks. And so we can keep doing the show that we love to do. We're not going anywhere, even though we're doing this for free. We're not begging. We love doing the show. And you can watch clips from the show on Instagram at OnBrandThePod. You can see videos of us there munching on Pringles live in the flesh. And we will be back next week with an all-new episode of On Brand.
And as we sign off, I'm going to throw out another sign-off option that was given to us by a fan freak. This one comes from Cara Bear 327. Thanks for listening, and be sure to stay on brand.
See ya.
Bye.
It's on brand.